What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Jonathan Jackson. I'm here for the first episode of I Can Mansplain. This is a long-awaited vision that I've had, but I'm so grateful to be able to be sitting in this chair with some amazing people. I want to introduce to y'all first, the very first guest of I Can Mansplain. Give it up for Larry B. Aiken and Aaron Cummings. Y'all give it up for my boys. Y'all give it up for them. Now, the reason I've chosen them, and I'm glad that they're here to be a part of this first episode, is because of what they are, the epitome of what I feel I Can Mansplain is, and why I brought it to fruition. So they have played a big part, a major part in my development, not only as a Christian, but also as a man. So this first episode means a lot to me, so I am grateful to have them here. How y'all feeling?
Great, feeling good.
I'm terrified. I don't know what y'all gonna say, man.
I'm excited.
Terrified, excited. We're gonna work it out, but we're gonna have us a good time. We're gonna have us a good time.
Yes.
Get to them. Now, tell the people what y'all do in y'all spare time. Who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Let the people know. Who are they listening to tonight?
Well, I'm just a country boy from Savannah, Georgia. Been here in Kansas City about 31 years, but you know, I love my southern roots, so I'm still country at heart. I love sports, football, basketball, baseball, doing the World Series. But you know, pretty much all kind of sports. Yeah. You know, love family. My wife, my children, all my extended family, so my grandchildren especially. But you know, just love to have fun. Of course, I'm a pastor, but I do have a life outside of pastoring, and that is pastoring probably what I would consider the most amazing family. You know, I have a great, amazing family, wonderful wife, but you know, I don't have a lot of hobbies, but I like movies and action movies and kung fu. And, you know, I still eat ball.
The ones with the subtitles, you got to read the subtitles on,
well, some of them. Oh yes, Nollywood. Listen, if you have not gotten into Nollywood,
I've never gotten to Nollywood.
That's the African version of Hollywood, and it's all based mostly out of Lagos, Abuja. But let me tell you, that's an eye-opener, an experience you would never. And so every night, I'm at home. Nollywood. You know, I'm at home in Nollywood. Yes, sir.
I'm Aaron Cummings, grew up here in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm in an interesting season of my life. I was a senior pastor for 8.5 years in Savannah, Georgia. And we were commissioned, called, and you know, asked to come back home to Kansas City, Missouri to assist and be a part of the Memorial Church, which is where Larry B. Aiken pastored. And so I'm in a really, really interesting season, heightened awareness of what's going on, because transition is really pretty cool, pretty challenging, but you learn so much and you grow so much. And so I'm in a really good headspace, even in the sense of this podcast, man. Everything matters. Every moment matters. I believe every opportunity is one that God can get glory out of. So sure. I'm looking forward to picking you all's minds.
Well, I believe he's doing the interview.
Oh,
and so he's picking.
Welcome.
Out. Yeah.
Well, as y'all heard it, so many different things we can dive into today. Mostly we're going to talk about, they talked about marriage, fatherhood, brotherhood, and ultimately manhood today. So we're going to just dive in, but we're going to have a little fun first before we dive into some of these questions. So I want to ask this question. What is something that your lovely wife, AKA Grandma, shout out to you, corrected in you early in your marriage that you didn't realize you needed correcting?
Man, I've been married 50 years. So
to the same woman.
Same woman. I would say she helped me with what my mom helped my dad with. And that was to remember that I was the preacher and not my children. Mm-hmm. My dad was a machine when it came to that. You had to do this, you had to do that.
Yeah.
And as I pulled my kids in and made them do this and do that, and you know, made the church probably bigger than life, you know, she's like, "No, baby, we got to talk about this. These girls will have a childhood, you know." And so she helped me early to realize that, you know, and this is after I made mistakes,
Yeah.
but caught me early enough to where my children grew up and don't hate church because they did it, you know, so much. And so just help me with creating a balance.
Yeah.
And that's probably the one of the greatest things early in marriage, on the church side.
Yeah.
On the flip side, before I got in church, it was accountability. You know, boy, you got to get yourself together. You really got to grab this whole accountability piece, because you can't be married and single, or married and acting like you're single. You got to take some accountability. So, yeah. So, man, here I am 50 years later, and I grabbed both lessons.
So I have a follow-up to this. Knowing the generation we live in now when it comes to dating, social media, apps, all these things, do you think back then you would have been able to survive and still have the current outcome you currently have with your marriage?
Probably not. Remember, I got married. I was 17. She was 16. Our level of maturity at that time in 76, 75, was a whole different Richter scale than it is right now. I look at the average 16 or 17-year-old, and I know they could not have filled the space that we filled then. So I think if I had to deal with a younger me, it would be a little different.
Yeah.
It would be, you know, but at the same time, they have access
Yeah.
to more than we ever had. You know,
Yeah.
I grew up with pagers and all types of stuff. Like, what is, you know, that's it. And we still had the payphone. And that's how, you know, now I want to call home, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot different. So I think I would have to maneuver the space, but at the same time, I think I've been be a pretty cool kid if I grew up in this time,
This era.
in this era, right here. I don't know if that answered your
No,
question.
it does. Do you think you will survive in this era? Married, trying to get married. Do you think you'll survive? Yeah, it's your turn. It's your
I
turn.
would hate to have to pick a wife now.
Yeah, for sure. I think love is timeless. Some things would have survived in any season. You know, I mean, if you got it, you got it.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about like Ali, one of the greatest boxers of all time, arguably the greatest of all time. No matter what time he was born in, he was probably going to be great because he had it in him. So I think that love is similar.
Good.
If your love was good in the 70s, probably would have did well in the, you know, in the late 2020s or whatnot. You know, so,
But don't take me back. I don't want to. I don't want to try.
You want to try again? How old were you when you got married?
Oh, wow. 23.
23 and 17.
Yeah.
That is unheard of.
Yeah.
Hanging around my house.
Hanging around your house.
Yeah.
Was he
23.
persistent?
He
tell you
went,
something.
he went and got.
You know, don't go into this story, man, because I'm going to stay on my own. I'm going to tell the truth.
He went and got the biggest Bible he could find.
What did he do
Bruh,
with it?
Let me help you. Let me give you some context. This was my pastor.
Yes.
I should have been asking him biblical questions.
Correct.
And it was not like I was faking. I'm a pastor now. I'm so glad that I asked all the questions. If you're once saved, are you always saved? You might need to know these things. You know, justification, redemption. I was asking him these questions early because God had his hand on me.
So, but was this all a ploy to make sure you got closer to see see the daughter?
Because,
But let me tell you,
let me ask a point. Because if you asking me the question, you're looking at me. You're not asking me the question, looking up like is she coming down the steps? I'm over here.
I'm gonna give you some exclusive content, Brother Jackson. This girl was so fine until it made my eyes jump out my head.
Just
Have you ever seen a cartoon that say, "Ooh, God"?
That was you.
That was me.
and you have been married 21?
Yes, sir.
21
years.
amazing years.
Yeah,
You got her.
21 years. Oh, yeah.
You got her.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. You know, I was never ambiguous about what I wanted. She was who I wanted, and I thank God that I didn't have to guess. I watched this show called Love is Blind, and this guy fell in love with two women at the same time. He proposed to one, she said no, so then he proposed to the other one, and she said yes. Now, I'm not knocking it, but I'm glad to have never had a divided love. You know, it's always been her. And if she's listening, I just want to tell you that I love you, and it was always you. It will always be you till the day I die.
That's good.
Big shout out, Stephanie. Love you. I don't know where the camera's at.
You got plenty to choose from. All right, so let's dive into a couple of these questions. I really want to have a conversation about a few things, especially about manhood and like the development of like you all's manhood. So when you were growing up, who taught you what it meant to be a man, and how has it defined and evolved over time?
So my blueprint, my very first example was my biological father, Avery Lee Cummings. Interesting story. He did not have a relationship with his father to speak of until later on in life. So he grew up and he told me that his dad was a tail light. I said, what does that mean? He said when they would see his father, they would say, there go your daddy. And he would turn around and see tail lights. So, you know, coming from that aspect, my blueprint had no blueprint. But so he raised me, did a fantastic job, gave me all the encouragement I needed, made me have a sense of self and some self-confidence. Thank God for that. Now, it was not without struggle. So I got to learn from my father in two ways. You know, one, what he wanted me to see, and then those things that he'd rather me not see.
Yeah.
You know, I learned from all of that. Then my grandpa, James Shine, real tough dude. I thought he was a jerk. And in hindsight, you know, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
Man, he was just stern. He was no nonsense, and he took care of his family. So those are all impressions that I had. Now, when I turned about 17 or 18, I ran into this guy, the Apostle Larry B. Aiken. Back then, it was Bishop Larry Aiken at 6640 Swope Parkway. And he was preaching and singing. I still remember what he was singing, but we ain't gonna go there. But
Yeah, tell me one day.
he taught me a whole nother side of life. You know, what it means to play out your faith in the context of church, what it means to live a life of integrity, and what does that mean? You know, how important is your reputation? How important is your integrity? He taught me a lot of those different things, and he invested in it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about just time, wisdom, but financially, I never forget, he gave me $100 because I was going to a Valentine's banquet and he knew I didn't have a suit. And I was a kid, you know, so that was the first time somebody who I didn't really know invested in. And so years later, I think I still would like to make sure he gets a return on all investments. That was just one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was my blueprint for manhood.
Yeah, for sure. What about you?
Man, I have really, really been fortunate. If you come in my office, you'll see my wall of impact. And those are all the people who I believe God put in my place at certain times in my life, because at each point there was somebody. So if I failed at life, it would just be because I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But he always had somebody. Starting with my dad. My dad dies at 58 years old. You know, I thought we were going to have this preaching life together, you know, in the prime. Boom. He dies. My uncle, Lexi, steps in. My dad, Leroy Samuel Aiken, you know, he'd be a fourth. I was a fifth generational preacher. So I had this, man, we're going to do this forever. You're going to come to me. I'm going to come to you. All of these things. That was a great blow.
Yeah.
But taught me a lot. I often wondered, why did he teach me so much? And I'd be like, man, I'm like, Dad, slow down. Not knowing, boom, he was going to die, you know, heart attack, you know, getting ready to preach. And so he was gone. And so the things that, and then up to that time, you know, just there at sports games, you know, he wear a suit now. If you whatever he was doing, and he was gonna have on that suit. Reb had on the suit, but Reb was gonna be there. Man, he's gonna be there. And everybody, man, there go your daddy. You could point him out. Now he got that suit on. But he was there. So starting with him, and then when my dad died, of course my uncle was there. But in the meantime, we get married, we go off to the military. And the first person I meet is Daniel Webster States. And outside of my father, he was the first person that invested in me.
Yeah.
Driving a Chevy Vega, it was acting up. This man gives me his credit card, send me to Sears and say, get everything you need to fix this car. And I thought there were things tied to it.
Yeah.
So, and then, you got to understand, by this time, in the church, at this time.
Yeah.
And so he gets me, give me my first taste of church away from home.
Yeah.
What to do, what not to do. This is how you go. Leave him, and then I meet Command Sergeant Major Williams. Catch me at another point in my life. I'm over there with him in Germany.
Yeah.
And he just teaches me discipline.
Yeah.
How to be a disciplined young man, and at the same time, be sure that you take care of your family.
Yeah.
Along the way, I got Leslie Cogdale, C. Medley Hayes, meet Deacon Daniel, Deacon Moss, all these guys. And so everybody is stacking up something different. Deacon Quarterman, everybody teaching me something along. So I had no excuse outside of the fact that either I just didn't want to get it. Some people got it and don't want it. Some people want it and don't have it.
Yeah.
I was a guy that it was always there for me, so I didn't have to run a long way.
Yeah.
And so a part of keeping it together is looking at that board and being grateful. And the way that you express your thankfulness is you put that in somebody else. You invest in somebody, and all of them had major investments, in my life. My uncle, all about preaching.
Yeah.
Do's and don't as a pastor. Stay away from this, stay away from that. Again, Sergeant Major Williams, discipline.
Yeah.
Daniel State. So different aspects. And so I only knew one grandfather, and that was my granddaddy, Isaiah Johnson. And so he was all about work, man. Just work ethics. As a little boy, just work all day and all night. So I got a wide gamut, of all of that, and was able to put all of those pieces together. My dad, I do want to say this before we move on, man. My dad taught me how to love. He loved my mama. Holding hands, going for walks, always kissing her, always caressing her. And that's in me.
Yeah.
That's me. He
It is.
he expressed love like that, and would tell her, hey, son, it's okay to be expressive and publicly show your affection, for your wife. He was a good father, so he taught us, take care of your family. So again, if I fail, it's because I just want to fail. But I've been one of the few people that have had a multiplicity of investors in my life.
And you said a couple of things I definitely wanted to touch back on. You had said something about how the man that gave you the card and said, hey, go get everything you need fixed on this. And it's like that was the first time you didn't feel like you had to do something in return. Right. I feel like oftentimes, especially during my journey, I felt as if that anytime something was given, like it was like, okay, what's the return you're looking for from this, or the favor, or whatever the case may be. So it came a time to where, as a man, I never wanted to ask for help. I never wanted to seem as if I was struggling. Nobody needed to feel the need to, like, hey, what you need, what's really going on. Avoiding those conversations, because in my mind, growing up in the household that I was in, obviously single mother, I was taught you don't ask for anything, you work hard for everything you get, and even though somebody tells you no, you never take no. You never take the first no. You keep going at it. And over time, I realized how I appreciate it, but at the same time, it gave me a mindset of, it was times I was struggling, which you both can attest to. I wouldn't say anything. It got to a point where I couldn't hide it anymore. You could see it, and it was a point where, like, I had no choice but to reach out. And I wish at an earlier age I was taught that it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to receive it without feeling like you owe someone something.
And well, right there, remember, man, our parents teach us out of their experience.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And if their experience has been, hey, man, people help you, but they always want something from you, then the goal is not to keep you from asking, but to protect you because they know that there are people who would take advantage of that vulnerability. So, boom, they clam, they clam down. And as we go on, we miss that aspect of it. But at the time, it's really a thing of protection.
Yeah.
Really a thing of protection.
Yeah, and it's funny you brought up the situation where your dad taught you how to love, because both of you. It's funny. I was talking to Shamari about it actually when we first talked about the episode. I said, dude, the way that he loves on my grandmother and the way you love on Mama Steph, I'm like, it's one of those things. Just like it's so natural and it's so amazing to watch because you don't see it every day. You don't. You can have a man like, oh, I love my wife or X, Y, Z, but to say I love and to see it. And I used the example with Shamar. I said, Shamar, we was at church on Sunday, and I said, Grandma looked like she was like a little flushed or something was on her mind or something like that. He stopped what he was doing, walked up to her and asked, "You good?" It's like you look like you was checking on her, like, "Are you sure?" And she just had to fight like, "I'm fine." We're good.
But she didn't look like she was in like she was in like this deep.
But you didn't care what was going on. What's going on?
Yeah, I think they were kind of waiting on me, but I'm like, hey, okay, I got to make sure.
Yeah.
Because if she ain't good,
you ain't good.
I ain't good.
But
and actually, Bishop hit on that in the Bible study, the 12 Tables of Truth.
Yeah.
And the class. His particular class was about marriage. He hit on that whole care, concern. And here's the power of it. Man, it is all real.
Yeah.
We don't force it. We don't, because it's real, it's genuine, and it's us.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? So we don't have to stress it. I don't have to post it on Facebook to convince nobody. But that's just the same way, and I can attest to this, that we are in public is the same way we are at home.
Yeah.
Us as well as them.
Yeah.
So it's in our family in general, just a loving family. You're gonna find a lot of hugs and kisses and check-in and all kind of things like that.
Yeah.
But it's very natural.
Yeah.
Natural for us.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead. No, please.
And Sam Cooke has a great song called Tenderness. The lyrics go something like, when she's walking across the street, hold her hand. If she makes a mistake, smile and laugh with her about it. Just teaching men how to be a little more intuitive, sensitive, instead of critical and dominant. And it takes some learning, because it's not the natural, response, especially when people are misusing the Bible so tough. Well, I'm supposed to be the head and you're supposed to follow. Well, that's the short story, but the details are there are 4 commands for women to submit to their husbands. There's 8 commands for men to love and honor their wives. So, I mean, just kind of putting it back into context of, and another reason why we love so hard is because you've experienced the love of Christ. You can't love your wife properly without having an example of what love is, which is what Christ was.
Yeah.
So
that was good, which is true. Because it's one of those things where we talk about how if I can get my relationship with Christ right, and I can understand the love behind everything that he's done and what he did, it just starts to make sense, and everything that's attached to you.
Yeah.
You just learn to love it.
It's sacrificial.
Yeah.
It's without, you don't have to love me back. I'm just going to love you
anyway.
What if every husband did that, man?
In spite of.
Yeah.
Yes.
No matter what you do, I'm just going to give it my best every morning. He fixes coffee for his wife almost every morning, man. Some guys, you have a bad night, you're not fixing coffee the next morning. You're like, she wake up like, why did you? Cause the last night.
She give good reminders because I be like, babe, what you doing? Now I don't get out of bed until I get my coffee. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. But let's say I'm and it doesn't matter if I'm doing a million other things.
Yeah.
Man, that's like, baby, that's my moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh girl, you can be. They're like, nah, I got it coming, baby. It's on the way. And sometimes I'm extra early.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm a little bit late, but I promise you, it does happen, and it's a joy.
Yeah.
for it to happen because that's that smile, man.
Yeah.
You remember I bought your wife Starbucks before you could make the coffee?
Yep.
You remember?
Of course I do. Oh, he done gone to.
Yo, it was such a big deal. I didn't think it was a big deal. Man, she got that coffee. Oh, my son bought me coffee. And boy, his nose was
Oh,
grabbing.
you started something.
He done robbed me of one of the highlights of my day. But at the same time, that's why she loves him.
Yeah.
That's why. We joked about it, but it was big because it's like I beat you. I got you. I mean, so just that loving, friendly family, competition. I got you. I know he's going, but it just all falls into the who we are.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Sure. So my next question is kind of geared towards like just manhood in general. Was there ever a time in your life so y'all felt as if you weren't either man enough or in a sense that you weren't, not necessarily in a sense like good enough, but like man enough to handle whatever it is you felt as if, whether it was your purpose in your life that God has showed you, or you felt like you lacked something and it didn't make you man enough, or you weren't man enough to be around other men because you didn't have as much, yeah.
Well, again, by 17, I was off to the races. But yeah, I think that it just don't happen one time.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to isolate it to one moment, you will have moments that even in your greatest accomplishment,
Yeah.
that mindset falls on you and you be like, man, I'm still slacking. And sometimes you hold yourself to a higher standard than other people hold you. So I have had moments throughout my life and where I challenged me, to where I thought I didn't measure up. I thought somebody was smarter. You can get in certain circles and man, you feel like I have missed so much or I'm so far behind. So I had to, talk myself out of the comparison trap.
Yes, sir.
Where I compare myself to other people and then I turn it back and say, hey, I may not have had that, but I have this. But man, there have been many, but you have to quickly snap out of that, or else you can find yourself in that funk too long. And this is why you have to surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
Who will challenge you and not allow you to feel that stuff. But most of mine was, just times of reflection. And I can remember, man, just great times. I can remember after a wonderful anniversary. I can even living now, I would look at, we hit 30 years.
Yeah.
And instead of celebrating 30 years, my mind goes back to what did I not do in this time versus what I did. That was in ministry, that was in marriage. And so those things always come up where a man is constantly gauging himself, and that's okay. Just don't stay there. Gauge yourself, but don't stay there. But oh man, I've had feelings of, man, where would I have been had I done this? Or all my friends are this and that, and all of this is happening. And man, that comparison thing will kill you, but it also make you feel like you don't measure up, like you don't belong, like you are not good enough. You deal with all of those. But like I said, you can't stay there. But have I had them? Yes. Do I still have them? Yes, I do. So I don't think that's something you're going to shake it, but you have to build yourself up and destroy every thought and every imagination that comes. But I do it quicker now. And then with the help of my wife, she helped me do it even quicker.
Yeah.
Come on, baby, snap out of that. You can't hang there now. And so just having a good mate for me, has just pulled me through, some of the toughest times in my life because when things happen, it'll make you question,
Yeah.
a lot of things. So having good people, having good help, supportive people, for me, has made all of it.
Man, I'm with Apostle Aiken. I have to slay the giant of inferiority and feeling of imposter syndrome or feeling like, I have to slay that every day. Every day I wake up, I have to kill that giant because, like you said, if you don't, you'll find yourself, instead of trying hard to become something, you won't do anything.
You won't do nothing.
You just, you be stagnant. But Jesse Jackson, rest in peace. Somebody made one of his speeches go viral. I think it's when he ran for president. And I played it for my son. This is so interesting. This yesterday, or day before yesterday, we were on the way to school, and I played the tail end of that clip. And he starts out, I never really heard him speak, but he starts out by saying, I understand that I know what it's like to be overlooked. I understand. He said, when I was born, I didn't have a name, which I didn't know. He said, I understand. He said, Jesse Jackson is my third name. He said, I was adopted. He said, I understand. I know what it's like when your mother has runs in her stockings, and she did that because she wanted us to have matching socks. I understand. You look at me and you see me on TV, but you don't know. I might be running to the White House, but you don't know what house I'm running from. I understand. Bruh, you talk about moved. When you see somebody who you think is the epitome of success,
Yeah.
and they tell you, I came from nothing, and he tells you to hold on, you can make it, hold out, keep hope alive, bruh. President Obama said the same sentiment. He said he thought people in other rooms were better than him until he sat and talked with them. And he found out that they're just people.
Yeah.
They might have different exposure, but the truth of the matter is all of us can become great in our own lane. I'm an avid chess player, man. One thing you learn from chess is it's not about how many pieces you have on the board.
Yeah.
You're always in a position to win.
Yeah.
And so no matter, if maybe somebody might hear this podcast, no matter where you are, no matter what your circumstance is, especially as guys and men, so what you were born, you didn't have a father. So what your dad was on drugs. So what your dad cheated on your mom. So what your dad is in prison. So what he abused. Whatever the story is, don't allow the devil to make you think for 1 second that you can't become who God has called you to be.
Yeah. I think with that, I had a mentor recently tell me, because I was dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome with my job. It's like it wasn't the things of, it was one of those things just like, wow, this is really what I do now.
Yeah,
or,
this is real. Yeah.
Like people are dependent on me, or in the sense of just like, am I truly good enough to do this? And he sat me down. He said, listen, you're no longer at a place to where you have to feel honored for someone pulling up a seat to a table for you. You're at a place now in your life to where people are honored to come to the table that you're now allowing people to come sit at, because it's always been in you.
Yeah.
It's just now you have the opportunity to show it. And it's just like, I was like, oh okay. Okay. And I didn't understand it in the moment until one day I went to work and there were some things that I had to handle. And I got to the conference room first to get ready for our staff meeting, and which usually never happens. I'm always the last one in the room because of schedule. And I got in, I sat down, and as we got ready for meeting, they just start trickling. It's like, Jonathan, good morning. XYZ. They're sitting down. They're getting their stuff, and then they, at one time, they all get together and they stop and they look up. All right, what's next?
Yeah.
And it's in that moment I realized exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you compare yourself to people, you'll see people like, for me, you talked about the epitome of success, talking about like with Jesse Jackson. For me, that's been like people like you all. I'm just like, man, like, whatever the case might be. And it's just like Obama said, you realize people are just people when you start talking to them, but it's still like that level of respect, that level of admiration, not because I want to have what you have, but I'm just grateful to experience and to see how you exemplify, regardless, in spite of what you've been through.
Can I ask you something along those lines? What happens when you go from being the supported underdog into being the villain in everybody's story because of your success? You know, because there's a shift. You know what I'm saying?
No, it
that,
is.
That
It
takes
is.
place.
It was shocking. It is.
Yeah.
It was shocking because you see yourself in a place to where you're so used to everybody saying, "Oh, you're just so funny," "Oh, we love you," or "You're so great at this," or X. I'm like, great, until being like, "You never get anything done. This isn't happening." What? You don't respond here, or whatever. I'm just like, wait.
Yeah.
And I had to tell myself it's just that, one, new levels, new devils. And also that there was nothing that no one can say about me from this point forward in my life that could be validated.
Yeah.
The only way it could be is if I validated it for them. And I had to know that everything that I am is more than enough and is good enough. And that everything I'm going to do is going to be great because ultimately everything has been great. And I've persevered through all type of things. So dealing with people like this every day, I truly handle it with a smile and all right, and move on about my day. Because if you give it too much energy, like you said, sitting in certain places or think you're not good enough, you give it too much, you start to believe it and it changes your trajectory. So I no longer allow it to hit me in a place of just like, oh, let me take what they said to heat and really think about, am I this person? Like, no, I'm not allowing you to tell me who I am. You have to be willing to experience truly who I am and what I bring to the table. So,
Well, a man knows that he is great when he no longer has to validate his greatness.
yeah.
That's when you know you're great. When you don't have to validate it or
Yeah.
keep trying to prove it. You
Yeah.
just walk that greatness out.
Yeah.
And your greatness affects people
Yeah.
different than it affects you. Because in your greatness, it just becomes second nature. This is just what I do.
Yeah.
But to other people, they're either gonna love you or you're gonna become a target.
Yeah.
One or the other, but at the same time, I don't have to validate
Yeah.
my greatness. So you haven't made great as long as you're running, trying to validate to people that you are great.
Yeah.
But the moment you start walking in that greatness and no longer validating and just be who you are, solve the problem that you've been set on this earth. And I tell people all the time, purpose is found in either something you love 99% of the time or something you hate. So you can find most purpose in that. Something you love, I hate that, I'm gonna do something about it. I love this, I want more of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that
So
makes
it's gonna
good
be
sense.
it's gonna be found, and that's like the simplest way to even get on the track,
Yeah.
to finding purpose. But you just be it, and you matriculated. We are so godly proud of you and the man that you have become. Because we've seen a Jonathan Jackson that couldn't figure it out. And we've seen a John. You might not remember this Jonathan Jackson that I told you going to school. You're gonna get out of this church. You went to school for a while, then you
Cut that part
stopped,
out,
and you thought that you were gonna just hang around the church. And I'm like, no, sir.
He actually also said, I'm not, he was talking about the school of love, Larry Aiken School of Love. And he was just like, he was going around, he said, until you finish college, we're not gonna worry about that. He literally said that to me. But it's funny you bring that up because it speaks to a relationship and why like this episode means so much to me and you guys are here because like, I remember vividly after I got kicked out of college, I'm not ashamed to tell that story. I got kicked out of college and I was back home.
Come on, little Jamal Brown.
We're not talking about Target. No, I'm just playing.
And Dollar General.
Where is the dress? No, I'm just playing. So, but no, it was a point. I'll never forget it. It was like I was struggling bad. Me and Isaac had moved in together. Things started off great, but then they just started plummeting because of work. Couldn't keep nothing steady, and I just did not understand what was going on. It was times I couldn't make my time of the rent. Pay my rent and things of that nature.
Thank you, Isaac.
And shout out to the 6'8" Isaac. Yeah. But I remember a moment for a fact that it was two moments. One, I had reached out to you and said, "Hey, is there anything you need done at the house?" I mean,
Jesus.
I'll bring myself, whatever I got. I'm on ladders. I'm in the backyard. Whatever you need me to do. And I had came to the salon when we still had it across the street from the church, and he's like, he about to take care of me. And Grandma stopped. She said, "Now, Jonathan, we love you. God has helped us fill a void for you that you, in a sense, don't have." But when she throw that love on you, she loves it. But when it's tough
here
love,
come a butt, yeah.
and she in that moment, you can tell that I felt the amount of love that she was given, but it was just that sense of, like you said, that accountability, but also saying like, "Hey, you got to get yourself out of this funk." And then in that same time, I remember borrowing a friend's car to go take care of all this business I need to take care of, and I'm rushing, I'm doing too much. Not only do I lock her car keys in her car while the car is running in my driveway, I can't even get back in my house. I remember sitting on the stoop of 6'8", shout out to Isaac, and saying, crying, I'm like, "God, like,
Come on, man.
what are we going? What am I going to do? Like, I can't do this no more. I can't do it." And right around the time you said you got to go back to school,
Got to go.
2 weeks later, I got re-enrolled back into Lincoln.
That's good.
I mean,
I got up out of here.
He was walking around. I mean, everybody, we saw the potential. Now, was he a great help?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, we had somebody who could fly. He was doing so many things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we saw, no, man,
Yeah.
this is not where you need to be. You
He's
could
an
be
eagle.
making a much greater
Yeah.
impact. You need to be directed,
Yeah.
not just here. He got a little sour for a little bit because it was like, no, man, we love you, but son, this is not it.
Yeah.
This not it, because he was always smart.
Yeah.
He always knew how to do stuff, and it was just like, no, man, another talented brother with all of this potential that just gonna, run around just doing this when he so much more. So when I look at that Jonathan, and I look at the Jonathan at Avalon, I look at the Jonathan at Lincoln, as an alumni, and the Jonathan with the 100 men. I mean, when I look at that Jonathan, and I say, boy, that's our son right there, man. He is doing it, and nobody can take that away from you because you got up, you went back,
I always knew.
and you did it, man. So this is a extremely proud moment, to man just reflect on all of this, man. It's absolutely incredible. And why wouldn't the enemy fight somebody like that who's on that,
Yes, sir.
that type of plane?
Yes, sir.
Of course he's gonna fight you from getting, to this. So it's been fantastic.
It's been a ride, and you did know.
I always knew.
You called me. I don't know if you remember. It was this time you had dropped me off at home, and you was like, not even 10 minutes of dropping me off. You called me and said, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Did I leave something in the car?" Like, what's up? Like, "Hey, God just gave me a glimpse of your future, and man, if you just lock in."
I remember that.
Ah, you remember it now.
I remember that. Dropping you off.
You
Yep.
definitely always did know. You always knew, and you called me. I remember that phone call, and when you said that, at that time I was like 18, 19. I was fresh out of getting kicked out of Lincoln. Fresh out of getting kicked out of Lincoln, and you had called and told me that, and it was just one of those things, just like, well, he ain't showed me.
Sometimes people have to see for you.
So, and this kind of speaks to the moment, like, this is such a safe place for me, right?
Yeah.
Talking to you all and hearing from you all. What do you say to the people that feel like we need these safe places as men, but one, don't know how to create them or even feel comfortable enough to operate in them?
Well, I would say you should be excited because more things like this are coming.
Yeah.
The next move, the next wave, the next big thing that happens, especially in the realm of church, is transparency.
Yeah.
It is literally the currency of this generation. What's happening now is people are keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the season of heroes in the pulpit, which is great.
Yeah.
We've had the season of mega ministries, and all that's great. But in this season, people want something real, man. They want to know, what does that pulpit talk mean in my life?
Yeah.
You know, and you got to do it in spaces like this, podcast, you know, just shows that don't have, or even like you take the Kev on Stage wave.
Yeah.
You got people picking up a phone, man, and giving you content straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
You know, there's no middleman. They wiping out the production company. So now what people are doing is becoming more real, more transparent, more tangible, and even kind of like when we're talking right before the podcast, people want to know, hey, what really happened? What is your real story?
Yeah.
Don't give me the,
Yes.
I can handle it.
Yeah.
I can handle it. I can handle whatever your real experience was, however truthful, however ugly. Give me something that I can use.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Because not everybody had it all together.
No. Most people, but the thing is, most people didn't have it together, but they're not willing to tell the
They
part where
lied.
it wasn't it.
They lied.
Which speaks more to you, because like I tell people all the time, I don't care how many times you tell a certain story, I always feel like it's the first time I hear it. Like even you telling a story on Sunday about smoking in the choir room.
I mean, well, we were just talking about, do you talk about your experiences
Yeah.
or when you talk about them? I grew up in a frame and a time frame where you didn't talk.
You didn't talk
about
about
it.
this.
That was, no kids running around, no kids, so you didn't talk about it. So talking about it, created, oh, I can't believe they said that. But everybody had these stories, but nobody was talking about it. So you had everybody running around like we're all good, but everybody still had these stories from the church mother to whomever it was. And it's no different than the people that's out here every day, man. Everybody has a story. Here's what George Bonner said. He said, based on research, we just went to this pastors conference in Arizona. They're saying, based on research, you have more people coming back to church now than in the history of the church for a long, long time. But it's hitting what he said. Not just the pulpit talk,
Yeah.
but the reality of what's real. Cut the fluff, get down to the real nuts and bolts, because fluff haven't helped us up to this point. Now you got to get into a lot of how to, how do I, give me something tangible. Take that old story, but
Give me.
bring
Yeah.
it to, bring it to the day to equip me with something. So, church in the future is a lot different. This may be church,
Yeah.
for a lot of people. And so the reach of it has to be where we reach people where they are and where we give them God
Yeah.
and not our version
Of God.
God.
of God that we want
Them
them,
to know. Yeah.
to have. And so we have made church God.
Yeah.
Church is fellowship. God is relationship.
Yeah.
And if you get the relationship, everything else is gonna line up with really relationship is here because it all builds.
So, yeah.
You build on that. But yeah, man, but it's just an amazing, amazing piece, and we gotta have more creativity
Yeah.
like this, more candid conversations like this, more people telling their real story. And you gotta be comfortable.
When doing
Now,
so.
if you ain't delivered from your story,
I was just about to say that. A lot of times you can't share what you don't have.
yeah.
So for
And if
me-
you're not there yet,
Yeah.
then leave that aspect alone. Because if you're talking about how you've been delivered for something, and next week you're back at it, then that was a wasted story because you you haven't, went really
But what
gotten
about
over
the
that.
man that is wanting to be so, or in that realm of what you're talking about, they want that, however, they feel like they can't obtain it and don't know how to obtain it, so they fake it till they make it.
They want a lifestyle that reflects Christ's presence in their life. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, just in general, Christ, or they want to assume that everything's all good, put together, or I can have this
The
conversation.
worst thing we could have ever told people was to fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
That is terrible. that because if I'm gonna come, I gotta come. I have to be real and genuine.
Yeah.
With myself. You telling me to fake it till I make it is telling me to put on a show. Act like you got something that you don't have. Why, when it's easy to possess?
Yeah.
So the first thing we do is not make it so impossible.
Yeah.
Strip it down to what it really is. Confess Jesus, he's yours. Keep it simple, man. We make it so complicated until people feel they need a degree to get to Jesus. Man, just nuts and bolts, man.
Yeah.
And the children of Issachar, which were men, had an understanding of the times and knew what Israel ought to do, man. Keep it simple. Keep Jesus reachable.
Yeah.
And not have to go through our 35-step process
Yeah.
to get it, man. Take it back down to where it is, to where, people can embrace him and receive him. I think we start right there. But I did want to say something. You talked about safe places.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be very, very, very honest with people that there are very few of those. Every place is not a safe place, even if you're talking.
Yeah.
It's not a safe place. And so you want to create it, you want to make it a safe place, but the place is only safe depending on the people that's in there.
Yeah.
That's when I would hate for a man to share his heart and the place not be safe, but has the facade
Yeah.
of being safe. And now everything that he has shared is up for grabs.
Well, even to that point, I don't know if y'all know the viral video where a dad and a son are talking, and he says something like, "I just wanted you to love me," and then the dad starts crying. He did a very unique cry, but it went viral. Y'all didn't see that clip?
No.
But it was supposed to be a safe place, but they turned it into
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was just like you like. See,
It became a video meme. It became
that's
a
the
meme.
point. You're
I'm the
you're
problem.
How can you laugh?
I'm the problem. I'm the problem.
Come on, man, no place.
I'm sorry.
My point is, if we don't get safe places,
Yeah.
we got to breed tougher people. Because we in a viral era, man. They're going to take what they want and flip it, turn it into it. So the best thing to do is, and we were talking about this prior to the podcast, is if you have something that seems sensitive, shameful, own it. Own it.
That's the easiest way. I could tiptoe into smoking dope.
Yeah.
Or I can just say, man, I did it.
I smoked
Listen, I got called out the club, but you know what I'm saying? I've said it, I'm out here. Now it's nothing you say that can damage me.
That's that accountability.
It's a boxer who just got his toupee knocked off. And he owned it, bro. He owned it.
Why in the world he went in the ring with a toupee on? I don't know.
Yo, that joint was, he got done. He had a cul-de-sac, bro. But he owned it though. He was like, hey. He was like, hey, I was wilding because I thought my head was coming up, and I said, oh man, it's gonna go viral. But he won.
Yeah, didn't he not come back and knock the
He
guy out?
won.
Wow.
So the point is, what people think is gonna take you out, bruh, you can win with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta take up your bed and walk. You gotta roll with it.
Where you come from, if you have victory over where you come from, it's no longer shameful.
For sure.
It's no longer shameful if you got victory, you know, over where. So I don't have to be shamed
No, you good.
about that, you know. But if you got victory over it, but I just want to say, man, that I know what we want to create,
Yeah.
and we do need it. Um, but sometimes it can't be. That's why they say, hey, leave your phones at the check your phones at the door.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to make it really safe because sometimes that you don't get a second chance at that brother.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to do all you can to make it, you know, really, really safe. But I love the ideal. I think that men ought to be able to talk and to share. And at the same time, there are sensitive issues that can be damaging to men if spoken to the wrong people.
Yeah.
And automatically just assuming, hey man, these all guys, we good. Hey man, this way, you know. So I think we have to look at that, but it's definitely needed. And I think all of the things that men struggle with has got to be addressed. And until we figure all that out,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pray that God send men
Yeah.
to the right people.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, but I have one more last question. If you had the opportunity for someone, a man that might be even watching this podcast, that may be whether they're dealing with identity, whether they're dealing with feeling man enough, good enough, a good husband, a good father, whatever they're struggling with, what if you had the opportunity to say anything to them to motivate them or encourage them, what would you say?
Well, I would tell them that nothing changes if you stay where you are. You're not going to change anything
Mhm.
staying where you. Take a step. You know, take a step. Be encouraged, man. Take a step. But it's not going to change what you just sitting here thinking about. You have to have the fear, or should I say, faith is risky business.
Yeah.
If I'm going to take a step of faith, then it's risky.
Yeah.
Take that step. It's better than just staying where you are because you could talk to next year about what you need to do, what you should do, what you ought to do, what you think you. But until you actually get up, Frederick Douglass says something like, for 20 years I prayed and nothing happened until I put legs on my prayer. He put legs. So you know, so whoever I'm talking to, whoever might be listening to it, put some legs. You know, it may not mean nothing to nobody else, but it means something to you. So man, put some legs on it. Reach out to somebody you trust. There are a lot of people that can't be trusted, but then there are a lot of people that can be trusted. And if you want things to change, let it start with you.
I would say, along the same lines, if I was talking to a man who was struggling with his identity, I would say, take your cues from Christ. Don't go nowhere else looking for who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. Go Christ first. He said this in Matthew 5:14. He said, "You are the light of the world. A city that sits on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but they put it on a candlestick, and it gives light to everyone in the house." The devil wants to stop you from becoming who you need to be because he knows the minute you find out, you become light for everybody else. That's why it's a struggle. That's why it's hard. That's why you always like it's a challenge. Yeah, because the minute you get lit, it's over. AJ and I, and hopefully he hears this podcast, and it might mean something 10 years from now that it doesn't mean right now.
Yeah.
But he and I listened to a book, and it talked about this family who moved to an island back in the 1960s. It was like 1916, and they were taking care of a lighthouse.
Yeah.
And it was some hard work, man. You had to make sure the thing stayed lit. You had to clean, and you had to, all of this work. But the family had committed to it, and the reason why is because the ships depended on the lighthouse to know which way to go.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm trying to say that it might be hard to be a man. It might not be popular to be a man. It might be days you feel like quitting.
Yeah.
But somebody's depending on you to show them how to get to where they need to be.
So,
That's why we fight. You think nobody would stay in this if it was just for yourself. It's bigger than you.
Yeah.
You got to win so that somebody else can win.
Oh, that's really good.
That was good.
That was
Hey,
really good.
I want the transcript. give me the Lord moving in here.
Now, I would say I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and whatnot. Before we wrap up, I wanted to do a couple things. One, you talk about 10 years later, even with AJ possibly holding on to something new. You told me something 10 years ago. First time ever going fishing. And you sat here, when Aaron Hill would be sitting in silence for something, something brewing or something, and something, hey, I had a question to ask you. And he was just like, do you think that the fish that bites down on the hook because they want knowing the pain that they would endure by biting down on the hook because they want the worm that bad, is it worth the pain to try to do it? Or do they be like, nah, not today? Yeah. Not today. The risk of, and from that lesson, you said, I had to be all of 19, 20 years old, and now I'm about to you're ready to turn 35 years old. And it's just to know now what that means in the sense of there's going to be times to where you're going to have to do things, it's going to hurt. There's few things you're going to have to go through that you're trying to avoid the hurt, knowing that it's a part of the prize or part of the process is avoiding ultimately, I feel like, the purpose in which we serve. And I say that ultimately because through the pain I had to experience with dealing with, not having my dad and not wanting to talk about those emotions or all those different things, I avoided it for so long until I took the moment, what, okay, today is the day.
Yeah.
I'm going to bite down on the worm. I'm going to bite down on the hook to see what can come from it. I'm grateful that the hook didn't get me, but I got the worm.
Yeah. So in other words, you're saying the juice was worth the squeeze.
It was because it got me to this first episode of I Can Mansplain. So I want to say thank you.
That's what's up. First one in the books,
That's the
baby.
first one in the books. And for you, I don't know if you remember, when I first launched No Name Branding Marketing Studios, my marketing firm, and it was still, COVID was kind of high in a sense, not high, but it was still running rapid, so it was done virtually versus in person. And it was a Sunday. I did it on a Sunday evening, and before we left church, she made sure the whole church knew, hey,
That he had
hey, Jonathan is doing this today, or XYZ, and I don't know if you remember, you wrote on an offering envelope, give this to Jonathan, let him know that we are his first client.
yeah, I do.
And I want to let you know, I've never let that envelope go.
How about. Did you put something in it?
So I wanted to show you as a testament, I've never let this go.
Man.
To say thank you for your loyalty, thank you for your support all these years and everything. You start trying to save something in there?
Man, I thought you put money in there to get to the man of God, man.
But I just want to say thank you because you've both of you always believed in me.
That's my daughters would, and my
Thank
wife
you.
would look at that and say, "Yep, that's my daddy. That's my daddy stick writing."
And I'm actually going to get that frame. I'm never going to let that go because it shows
Bless you.
That's dope, man.
a sense of love, loyalty, and respect. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Bless you.
Well, y'all, that's the first episode of I Can Mansplain. As you can tell from this episode, there is so much more to dive into when it comes to this thing we call manhood, things that we need to understand, not necessarily because we need to ask for permission, but it's time to share our perspective. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tune in to our next episode.